You're listening to Living Out Loud with my mom, Michele Flamer. Yep, she's a flamer and proud of it. Get ready to learn about queers in your communities doing great things every week.
Hey, welcome back to Living Out Loud. And today on Living Out Loud, I'm honored to welcome someone who has spent her career making sure people feel seen, heard, and valued. Eboné Bell is a keynote speaker, storyteller, entrepreneur, voiceover artist, and the founder of Tag Magazine, an award-winning publication created to amplify LGBTQ voices, particularly those too often overlooked in mainstream media. What began as one woman's determination to fill a gap grew into a national platform, a scholarship fund for queer women of color, and a movement centered on belonging, representation, and courageous leadership. Today, Eboné speaks around the world on leadership, allyship, communication, and creating cultures where people can show up authentically and thrive. Her work has impacted organizations including Microsoft, Deloitte, Accenture, and universities across the country, and communities seeking deeper connection and understanding. But beyond the accolades, Eboné is someone who continually asks a powerful question. What happens when we choose courage over comfort? Let's dive in. Eboné, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. What a beautiful introduction. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. A lot of people like me. I'll send it to you afterwards because some people are like, when I'm having a bad day, I just want to listen to your, to your intro. I'm like, okay, well, you can always, go back and listen to the intro, and if it makes you feel better. But yeah, I think props to you. You're self-made, and I think, having women cheering women on is, I think, really important and valuable. But I think as mask women, like this is us, right? Like we show up Lesbian Visibility Day the minute we walk out the door. And I think there's something said to be really feeling comfortable in our skin.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have very similar energy where people kind of can't help but want it, like such golden retriever energy, right? Like
we do.
Yeah, we do. So it's great. But Eboné, I'm so excited that you're here. I've been following you on LinkedIn for a long time, and then of course started to follow you on Instagram and other places. But yeah, I just love your energy and what you're bringing, and I just love and value what you're doing in the world. I think it's so vital. But before we sort of leap into like today and the scope of moving forward, I would love for you to share your coming out story if you'll honor us with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to give you like the main coming out story, right? Like to the mom coming out story, because, I kind of like came out to friends and all of them were like, yeah, girl, we knew.
That's my story. Yeah, that's pretty similar to mine.
So that was fine. They were like, yeah, we were just waiting for you to figure it out, which is a beautiful thing. But I remember I think I was 19 when I came out to my family. And I remember like mentally preparing, not just like that day, but probably for like weeks. And when I say mentally preparing, not just like how I'm going to say it, what I'm going to say, it was also preparing for whatever the end result would be. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, one of those end results that I prepared myself for was to lose them. Mm-hmm. That I needed to be authentically me and free and happy in myself, that I needed to be prepared to lose people that I love. Mm. So when I say that I had to mentally prepare, like I had to mentally prepare for, yay, we're so happy, let's celebrate your gay, right? To, we don't want to talk to you anymore. And that's like heartbreaking, but that's when I really knew like, no, this is me. If I'm willing to like lose people that I love, you know what I mean?
Well, then gosh, maybe they'll take it seriously, because it's not just a phase. What part of the country did you grow up in, out of curiosity?
So I'm still kind of here now, but we call it the DMV. So those folks that don't know, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia. So I'm in the DC metropolitan area. And grew up in Maryland. I went to University of Maryland, College Park. That is where I made the call to my mom. When I was 19, I was in my dorm room. I could still see it clear as day, like it was yesterday. And I finally worked up the nerve. And I called her. It was like maybe late afternoon, early evening. And I couldn't, I mean, I already was called crying. Like I already had tears in my eyes. I already was crying. And of course my mom was like, oh my God.
You really didn't know in that moment how she would take it?
No, 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 no. I
Wow.
didn't. I genuinely didn't. And in some ways I feel bad about that because I feel like I should have given her more credit, right? But I think, you see horror stories, or I shouldn't say horror stories, but you see stories of, people's parents, disowning them or really bad.
Absolutely, that's real.
Yeah, it's real. So you just never know. And, I grew up in a religious family and, you just never know. So I'm calling, I'm crying. And so I didn't even get words out. I'm just calling, crying. So my mom, of course, she's like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? Did something happen? Like to the point she thought like something really bad happened to me. She was like, did something happen to you? Did somebody do something to you? And then of course I'm feeling bad because I'm like immediate, thinking, no, 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 there's nothing like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, no. And then I just kept saying to her, Mom, I love you. I just don't want you to be disappointed in me. I just kept saying that. I love you. I just don't want you to be disappointed in me. And she's like, what's going on? And I said, Mom, I'm gay. And then like there's a little bit of a pause. It's like I feel like it was very kind of dramatic a little bit, but then she said, how can I be disappointed in something that I already knew? And I was like, like, oh my God. And she was like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I love you. I knew. And she's like, that day or that evening, she's like, it was like around Halloween-ish. And she was like, you know what? Because we lived like an hour from the campus, or at least my parents did. I lived on campus, but it was like an hour away because I grew up in Maryland. And so she was like, you know what? I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you. Let's talk. Let's go get dinner. Maybe we can go get your Halloween outfit. Like it just like
Best case scenario.
it was a beautiful scenario and everything that I did not expect. And I'm so blessed to have that experience because I just didn't expect it.
Are you
And
still
it's
close with
sad in
her?
some ways.
She's still around and you're still
Yeah. So, and listen, and I'm going to be really real with you. Like that was a great moment. And there were some bumps in the road in between.
okay.
So, I think it's this. Sometimes I tell people, I don't, it's not me giving parents an excuse, but I do think about how long it took us to come to terms with ourselves. And I know society has a lot to do with that, but
Yes.
sometimes we also have to give grace to our parents to also process it in a way, because I know my mom had this like, I'm gonna have, and of course she could still have grandkids, but at the time this was her thinking, right? Like I'm not gonna get the daughter that I see walking down the aisle in a dress, or whatever, or
All
have
of their
grandkids.
fears, their beliefs wrapped up in,
Right,
in
exactly.
so
So
much of them. Not
right.
it's not about us at that moment. It's really
It's
about
about them.
them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there were bumpy moments. It was not, it was that coming out story was great. And I know that my mom loves me no matter what. And there was a lot of learning and unlearning to do for her as well. But we are in a like, ooh, how far she has come has been such a beautiful thing to watch. From, I used to be a drag king. She came and performed with me one time. Like, to the fact that she calls my partner more than she calls, calls me now, and not in a bad way. Like it's just funny because I feel like, because my partner's more like feminine, and I feel like, oh, she finally got that like daughter that she could be like, oh, what are you wearing, like, so. But I love that, like I love that we went from, obviously this beautiful coming out to a rocky road to now where we are is just beautiful. So I'm really lucky with my coming out story. Um,
Do you think there's a difference in coming out with the color of our skin?
oof, huh? I and part of me is like, I don't want to get canceled.
You're not going to
I
get
do.
canceled.
I know. I'm being silly, but I do think there is a lot of growth for Black and Brown communities still, because we are so embedded, and not to say white communities aren't religious, but we are so embedded in the church that I think that sometimes it could do a lot of damage to good people that just happen to love somebody different from you. I think we have a lot of work to do in the Black and Brown community. I think there are things that we are just, I keep saying unlearning and learning, like therapy was taboo for a lot of us, and a lot of us are breaking that pattern as well. So I definitely think it's different for sure. And I think it shows up differently. I think a lot of us are also more in the closet, especially our men. I don't want to say it's easier for the Black and brown women, queer women, but definitely our men, because it's this, for Latinos, machismo. For, Black men, you have to be a certain way. Even hugging your friend is gay. Like, it's wild, right? To watch toxic masculinity and religion do quite a number on our community. So yeah, I absolutely think that it's different. And I don't know the statistics, and now I want to look them up, but I wonder like what the statistics are as when age wise, when we come out compared to our white counterparts. So anyway, I'm going to be looking that up later because now
I like to ask. I just think it's, after everything that happened with George Foreman and all of that, and learning about, talking about Black Lives Matter and
George Floyd.
Sure. I mean, God, what did I say?
I knew what you meant. I was like, wait a minute. Right. George Foreman.
Oh God. You know what? I was thinking about his grill the other day, and it's
no. It's okay. It's okay.
God, no, that's horrible though. See, like that is not white privilege, people. That is just stupidity. That is
it happens. It happens.
Anyways, from the Black Lives Matter and everything, it's like I just always am curious from a queer perspective. Now that I'm talking to so many people, like coming out stories all feel very threaded in similarity. There's that, oh my God, I need to like show myself, right? And then the second part is how will it land on the person that I'm talking to? That has nothing to do with color, like in that moment at all.
Right.
Like you're just in this human experience of finally after, whether you're 15, that's still 15 years you've lived, unauthentically,
right,
or way in your 50s when all of a sudden you realize you want to transition because you haven't been living in your body. And I think it's just fascinating to me that within the color spectrum of human beings, that you can have these similar cores, but yet on the backside, depending upon if you live in the South, if you were brought up around religion, there's like all these extra curricular pieces that play into those 3 minutes before you say, I'm gay.
Yep.
Because it's such a profound statement that we have to say it in one way so that it's clearly understood. And I just think it's really interesting to me when people are talking about their stories, and also how a lot of people play it down, how because we've lived in ourselves now for a while, like by the time I'm asking you in your life, like how old are you today, Eboné?
I am 43.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time that you've been out and being yourself. So it's interesting that when we go back and talk about our stories, I see, all of these mechanical pieces, working in each guest's brain, because they're like, God, I haven't unpacked that in a while. But yet they don't remember how heavy it was. Some do because they're still kind of fighting with their family.
Yeah.
But other people, like, it is a weighted moment, and I never want to like look at it and take it for granted either, or make it light, because we forget. Like, I just remember my day, like all day I was like, okay, if anybody asks how I am today, I'm literally going to tell them I'm gay. Like, you just like it's in the throat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gay. Like, you just like have to be like, how are you? I'm good. I'm gay. It's like, It's just so interesting what we all have to go through. And
Yeah, yeah.
obviously
And
looking the
still,
way, looking the way we do also, I
hmm
mean, you have to come out to everybody all day, every day.
every time, every time. Yeah, every time I step out,
That's
it's,
it.
we always say, right, let's not judge a book by its cover and all of that, but like, let's be real, So I say like us stepping out, especially as masculine center people, uh, masculine and center queer women of color, every time we go out, it's like we are, we're activists in some way, just by existing and being out and being ourselves and being comfortable and not being afraid of who we are when we're out and about and just living our lives.
I agree. I mean, I tell my partner, because she's femme facing.
Mhm.
You'd walk right by her in the street. You just wouldn't even know. And she's gay as can be, right? Like, which
Right.
I love, right? But I always tell her I'm like her gayest accessory, the minute she
Yeah,
walks
for
around.
sure.
It's
For
funny.
sure.
It's really funny.
Listen, femme invisibility is absolutely a thing.
And
That's
they don't
another
like
subject
that.
for another time.
Yeah. And it's frustrating for them. It's really
I
interesting.
know. Oh, I know. My partner gets it all the time.
I love that. Hey, so when you were younger, what part of yourself did you most wish the world could see that it wasn't seeing?
That it wasn't.
Like, what do you wish the world could see that it wasn't seeing when they saw
Oh,
you?
ooh. I feel like the probably the obvious answer is what we were just talking about.
Mhm.
Was probably just my queerness, but honestly, like I think giving you an example is probably the best way to explain it. But I think I remember I've always loved to dance and sing and do all of that. And I remember doing like little maybe like plays or talent shows in like elementary school or something. And wanting to. I loved Michael Jackson. I still do to this day. Know how to dance like him. Everything. So I remember, sometimes wanting to do those numbers, and then my mom's like, let me put you in this like pink, cute little outfit and these like,
Yeah.
a bow, and I'm dancing to Michael Jackson, and I think, maybe this is where she started to realize, one of these things are not like the other. I'm not quite sure, but I wish like people could have saw me for me, like wanting to just dress how I wanted to dress and just sing and dance how I wanted to dance. And I think in some ways that is also why I probably became a drag king later on in life,
Ah,
because I was able to kind of do what I couldn't do before. Like yeah, people could have seen
really
that.
express
Right.
this
See more
part
of
of
my
you.
self-expression.
Yeah.
Exactly. As a maybe a masculine and center woman. Maybe that is what I wish, I
How
guess
does
people would
I've
have.
never put on drag, but everyone has always said, like, Michelle, you'd probably have so much fun with it. But how does it feel to like put on that drag costume, knowing you're going to step out on stage and
Oh, it felt like a superpower, I
mm,
would say. I feel like the first time I just feel like I was completely transformed to another place. You feel somewhat like a rock star too, in a way, because you're like living this like weird fantasy as well.
totally,
But it was really cool to just be somebody different and just leave yourself, backstage, and get to be somebody else. And for me, get to do something I've always wanted to do for years, but do it as me. You know what I mean? Do
yeah,
it in this body. Yes, I put on facial hair. It wasn't necessarily about being a man, but it was about being able to perform in this masculine energy, in this masculine body, because, dancing and performing like Britney Spears, that wasn't me. That's not who I wanted to be, or Madonna or,
right.
Beyonce, whatever. Love all of them. And that was never me.
What
So,
was your alter ego's name? Your drag name?
so loved music. I've already said that. And then of course my first name starts with an E. So I was E Clef. was my drag name.
I like that.
And anything Michael Jackson, Usher, or Justin Timberlake, I was there. All three of them, like that is my vibe. Absolutely.
Oh
My
my God, I
first
love that.
ever performance, like as a baby drag king, was "Like I Love You," Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
I got, is there video somewhere?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I
I got,
mean, maybe even if I think there might be a few on YouTube, but I will check and I will send you a few links.
that's great. I love that. Looking back now, do you think entrepreneurship found you, or did you consciously choose it?
I absolutely. This is a great question. I think it absolutely found me for
Mm,
sure. I even talk about with starting the magazine, like even 5 years before that, if you had told me that that's what I'd be doing, I'd be like, "You're crazy. I have no interest in that at all. Like, I don't want to do that." But I think when I look back in my life, I was always creating spaces or groups or whatever for things that I didn't see. So it started at University of Maryland when I went to my first few LGBTQ, group meetings and hangouts. And I'm like, where are the people of color? I'm like, this is a big ass campus and I'm not seeing a lot of black and brown people here. I
mm,
know we exist. Where the hell are we?
that's
And
right.
so I remember walking into the student services office, if you want to start a group on campus. And I'm like, hey, does this exist? And no. And so I started True Colors of Maryland, TCOM. It still exists today, which is so beautiful to
What
see.
a beautiful legacy you
Oh,
have there.
I listen.
Field of dreams, baby. You
I
know, build it,
agree.
they will
I
come.
agree. Like a few, maybe handful of years back now, they invited me back and gave me like an award. And it was really cool to meet some of the folks. They were like, wow, you started TCOM. Thank you so much. And it was just like, what a beautiful experience to watch. But at the time, in some ways, I was doing it for myself too, because I wanted to.
But I think that's how some of the best ideas come from.
Exactly, exactly. And I always tell people if you want it, I guarantee there's somebody else in this world or in your community or on your campus that want it too. And that's exactly what happens. It's the whole right, build it, they will come.
That's right.
And it started there. And then that happened. Then I started the Second Chance Prom in DC because I thought about how I never had the prom I wanted. So for like 7, 10 years, I did the Capital Queer Prom for adults 21 and up to have the prom we should have had years ago with prom king, prom queen. Like we did it all. We did it on the boat, we did a casino night, list goes on and on and on. To fast forward doing events through in the community because again, I wasn't seeing them. To eventually starting a queer women's publication, first starting in the DC area because I noticed we had two other great LGBTQ publications and you flip through the first 10 pages, you don't even see a woman.
Totally.
I'm like, I know we exist. I'm here. So I started Tag Magazine. And so I think this is such a fabulous question because no, I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I think it just kind of chose me because I was always creating spaces for people that that I felt deserved to also have a sense of belonging as well.
I love that. So I love Brene Brown, and
Mhm.
she often talks about vulnerability, right?
Mhm.
Being our and also being our greatest measure of courage. When in your life have you felt most vulnerable, and what did that season teach you?
Ooh, when did I feel most vulnerable? Oh, what a great question. Um, I feel like I'm thinking of a few things, and so I'm just trying to think of what this looks like. Um, you know, I would say, and I feel like I'm going to get a little deep here, maybe, and maybe just because I feel comfortable with you, Michelle, I'm not quite sure. Uh,
Yeah,
but I would say I probably felt most vulnerable when so mental health is real,
for
right?
sure.
And I think when I had to take a serious look at myself and how I was acting years ago, I was like maybe in my 20s. And I'd go from like 0 to 100, or, have these like fits of like, sometimes they say with being bipolar, like you like, maybe you'll like go shopping and boom, just go, nuts, and then have this like depression after, or like whatever. And I was like, something doesn't seem right here. Like something doesn't seem right. And I think, again, I think in a lot of communities, but especially in Black communities, a lot of times we tell people, just pray about it. Just pray about it. And yes, I'm here for that. I think we can pray about it, but as God says, faith without works is dead. So you also have to work toward fixing that as well while you pray about it. And
Yeah.
so I had to, especially as a Capricorn, I don't like to show imperfection.
You're such a Capricorn.
Yes, I did not want to show imperfection,
Yeah.
but I had to. And I think that was a really vulnerable moment for me to have to say, something's not right here. This isn't, for lack of a better phrase, this isn't normal. Um, and I got to figure out what's going on, because I needed to advocate for myself. But I think it's really hard to say that out loud to people. I think it's really hard to say that out loud to yourself. But I think that was probably a really vulnerable moment for me. And then also having to tell your family and your friends, and maybe even your family that you probably got it from as well. So it was a very vulnerable moment, but I'm really proud of myself for recognizing it.
Yeah. One of my
It's
best
like that
friends.
whole like,
Yeah.
the first step is recognizing it and doing something about it. And I will take this opportunity to say this to people, anybody listening. If you are in that step, don't be afraid to take the next step and advocate for yourself and advocate for your own health. There is nothing wrong with you. It just means, hey, you recognize something, and there are things out there to help you adjust and feel better and continue to live the life that you deserve.
Yeah, one of my best friends has bipolar disorder, and she's really helped me normalize it in so many ways,
Mm,
like just by talking about it. And I think mental health with her is also, mission critical. I think it's always important because the meds for it all is like it feels like that's what is more rocky than just the
mm,
actual diagnosis, because you're constantly, due to hormone shifts and your age and all these, like there has to be all this little tweaking that goes
yep,
on. And so,
yep.
it still may be one night of like, I'm up till 3 a.m. shopping on the internet,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
Sunday morning, I don't want to leave bed, but then Monday, totally solid, it's
Yep,
like,
yep.
so I
Yeah,
think,
it's definitely not a perfect journey, but you got to start somewhere. Like, and they had to figure that out, right? Like, what works for me, what doesn't, what's the dosage, what it looks like. And it's a journey, but it's a journey worth it, if it gets you in a better place to have
yeah,
a better life.
no, completely. Um, Was there ever a moment when being visible felt dangerous professionally or personally?
Ooh,
I know, I just go for the jugular.
no, no. The I love the question, because I'm like, oof, it's been a lot of times. And I think it's the sad part is visibly gay, yes, and visibly Black. So as you mentioned, I'm a speaker. I go out, I talk about everything from leadership to belonging to allyship. I do Black history. And a lot of times I'm being sent to places that are predominantly white areas, sometimes small town areas, depending on the school or the university. And boy, oh boy, like the first 2 years where I really went into speaking full time, and I'm, flying out places or driving for a couple hours
Yeah,
into certain towns,
yeah.
was wild. Um,
Mm.
Absolutely wild, where you're going past a whole bunch of like Confederate flags.
Oh, that's scary.
There was one, and I can't remember the area, it doesn't really matter, but I had to use the restroom. I've never held myself for so long
Yeah.
because I was so scared where I was going to step out. Would it be the right place to step out? Um, like,
Yeah, and a lot of, I mean, like, I don't have to think, I mean, I do have to think that way sometimes, but it's not in my DNA.
right. It's that intersectionality of, yes, like, you know, I'm visibly a gay person, but I'm visibly a Black person
I'm
too. And
obviously
depending,
visibly Black, right?
right.
Like
And
first.
so depending on where I am, you know, and that's happened a couple of times, you know, and when that first time that it happened, I just kept thinking about how did the people that came before me do this? How did my ancestors do this? Because they had something called the
Really?
Green
You
Book.
sit and think about that in these
I
moments?
thought about that. I genuinely do because I'm like, this is what they had to do. You know
True.
what I mean? We are in a progressive world, right? But I think about how did they do this? They had something called the Green Book to tell them where they could stop and where, you know, what hotel was safe, what bathrooms, what gas stations were safe. And sometimes those suckers weren't for another couple hours down the road. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know how I think about this stuff all the time. And maybe because I talk about Black history and that's the reason
Yeah,
that I do.
maybe, but it's just
But
you
it
have
happens a lot more than you think. Finally, I remember that day. I just was like, literally, I stopped really quick. I said a prayer in the car. It was a gas station that kind of had like a side like mechanics, and there were a handful of people there. So I was like, all right, I might be okay. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
There's
Still no
enough
Black
yeah,
people.
there's enough people there,
Right,
like,
that maybe somebody out of this group is gonna be cool. I'm like, you got a bathroom? Like the way I
there's
was,
not some good old boy just standing there.
right, right. And even it could have still been. But I got really I got lucky. Everybody was fine. They minded their business. I did what I had to do, but you never know. And that has been one of many times. There have been a couple of times I joke about it now sometimes when I give my talks and speeches about how I lie when people ask me what I do. So like if I'm in an Uber or a taxi and it's always white men,
Mhm.
they'll be like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And before I tell them what I talk about, and then they want to debate me. And in that moment, I feel so unsafe. And so now I'm like, "Oh, I'm an accountant. You know what I
So
mean?
boring, right? Yeah.
I'm whatever." Like, because sometimes I'm just exhausted. I'm like, man, I just like travel for like 5 hours. I just want you to drive me to my hotel, and I want to make sure I'm safe. Um, and I do want to say this because I want to give a shout out to this pilot. I went somewhere around North Carolina. Anyway, it was such a small town, no Ubers, no taxis. I thought I could get a taxi out there. It was one of those Cessna planes that took me from the main airport to where I was. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna get to my hotel. The pilot drove me to my hotel. He was such a sweetheart. He was probably around my age, maybe a little bit younger actually. And he asked me what I was doing there. And I remember going, like, what do I say? And then something just told him, you know what? I'm here. It's Black History Month. I'm speaking. I'm doing my Black History is American History at this school. And he was like, cool. He's like, I think I want to go.
Oh, how cool.
And he came.
I
He
love
came and
that.
he flew me. He's the same pilot that flew me out the next morning. But like what like a refreshing like conversation and interaction to have. Like not only did this man drive me to the hotel, but he was like, I want to learn more. That never happened. So I have to give a shout out to him. He was such a sweetheart. But most of the time, that is a very unsafe place for me to be. Is in an Uber or taxi, and somebody asks me what I do for a living.
Uber recently, and you might be aware of it, allows now to just have women pick you up.
Yes, I saw that. I thought that was the coolest thing.
Locked in now. I only get women now, especially if
Oh,
I'm with my daughter on travel, and it's fantastic. And I'll tell them, I'll say, thank you, for putting your gender, in there so that I could, pick. And she's like, "Oh, you're using that?" I'm like, "Yeah, we are."
Oh,
I got my
sure.
mom to do it now too, so it's good.
Yeah, I'm kind of joking, but kind of not. I kind of wish we could do that for the folks that go shopping for us.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, there is a difference when you get a grocery list to a man versus a woman. Sometimes on like Uber Eats or Instacart.
Oh my
Sometimes
God,
like I'm like, man.
why don't they know how to pick out the
I'm
stuff
like,
properly?
did y'all even look? Did you even try?
This avocado is for yesterday.
And I know I'm not the only one because I've seen memes and videos online. I'm like, okay, I'm not
No,
the only one.
I feel your pain, but then I'm like, okay, this is like real life problems. Like I
Right, of
should go
course,
in
of
and get my
course,
own shit. Like
of course,
if
of
I need
course.
someone to pick it up for me, then that's just a me thing at that
It
moment.
is, it is. It
Understand that.
totally, it's absolutely trivial, but I think I'm like, you know what? If we're gonna do it for Uber, maybe Uber Eats too.
Okay, so you've lived a little now. What's a belief you held 10 years ago that you've completely changed your mind about?
Ooh, 10 years ago. Um, hmm. I want to say something positive, and I think that's what I'm looking for. Because I do think in some ways I was really naive about things. I think a good example. So my partner is Puerto Rican, and
There's some passion
again,
up in that house.
yes, and
Whether it's good or bad, right? It's passionate.
it's very passionate, and so. But she does a lot of the same work that I do as well. Like she does DI consulting in companies and showing them how to do better and creating better systems. She does a lot of anti-Blackness work in the Latino community, workshops and things like that. So I think that's also why we connected a lot.
Beautiful.
I think, I don't know that I had a belief like I was standing in it as much as I realized, oh, I'm not as smart as I thought I was. As I think, even as somebody who um, talks about diversity and learning and unlearning and things like that, I really pride myself on having as much knowledge and education as possible. But I'm not perfect. I make mistakes too. And I realized how, I don't know if I want to say colonized, but how very white cultured thinking I had when it came to Hispanic and Latino communities. And not that I ever was anti or anything. I think I just honestly was naive and ignorant and didn't educate myself. Like just basic things like, why are we still calling Latino people Spanish? Like that is a language. That is not a type of person, right?
Right.
Unless you're from Spain,
That's
then
right.
Spanish, of
That's
course.
right.
But
You're a
everybody
span
else.
word, right?
Right,
It's like,
exactly. Then that makes sense. So I think there are a lot of things that I was really ignorant about that I'm like, oh my God, like how embarrassing that, I thought these things. But what's been really cool is to learn a lot more and like have her correct me, or even now, even the things that I'm learning from her. And I just read a great book called The War in Puerto Rico. And to watch the similarities of the Black and Brown community is just amazing. Like sometimes I really hate to see when Black and Brown people clash, because I'm like, you all don't get it. You are us and we are you. Even DNA wise, you are us and we are you. And we are so much stronger together than we are apart. And I think a lot of times we've been pitted against each other, because Black people, we were the original oppressed in America, right? And we continue to be. And now there's this war on, Latino immigrants and things like that. And it really breaks my heart to see even Black people say, yeah, go back to your country or whatever. I think that's so ignorant. And I've never thought that way, but I think it just goes with, I think I've been a part of that white culture learning when it comes to our Latino brothers, sisters, and siblings. And I've been blessed to continue to be open-minded and educated and understanding people more and more. So I don't think that I was necessarily like rooted in this 10 years ago. Like I'm always going to think this way. It was just more, I was really naive. And it's really cool to see all the things we all have more in common than we don't. And I mean, that really is for human beings in general. I
That's the
pray for a
point of
day I
all of
wake
it.
up and we all get the memo that, oh my God, we're all human beings. Oh,
I think
I pray for that day.
I mean, during COVID, my daughter was 9, and I remember her finding, I don't know if it was her school that sent it out or it was something provoked her to bring me this image of, all of these skeletons. You've probably seen this image before. It's a black background, and it says, Hispanic, black, blah, blah, but it's all the same color skeleton. Clearly, it's not even like gender. It's like
Hmm.
it's just these white skeletons, and then you have all the labels above. And I thought it was so cool that she came up to me and she said, Mom, with all this going on right now, is everyone's skeleton really the same color? And I said, yes, it is actually.
Mm,
And so it really is just these meat suits we're wearing because we're human beings having spiritual beings having a human experience. Like whatever, I mean, you might have been white in another life, you know what I
you
mean?
never
Like,
know.
right. And I'd like to think I was maybe black or brown. I mean, how cool is that to
Yeah.
have different experiences and what the lessons are in this life that we're getting to know each other in this moment, right? And I think it's just really beautiful of how you kind of phrased your growth for the last 10 years and how beautiful it is. And it really is touching because you used it as an example through your eyes, how you look at your partner and how you see her. And that just shows that you guys are in a really like a beautiful soulmate sort of connection in that way because she adds value to your existence. Like she adds something to it where you're learning from her, she's learning from you, you're learning also collectively together, and hopefully teaching things, to people by just how you love one another and show up.
That's
And
it.
and I
I can't believe you saw all of that. And I think, I'm going to make sure she listens to this part exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting because I'm in a relationship for the first time in 4 years. I was in my ex-wife and I were married 18 years. We have our 14, almost 15-year-old daughter. We co-parent beautifully. But the thing that with this newfound love that I've found, it's very similar in the way that we show up for one another. And I don't know if it's being in my 50s, it's all the therapy. It is. I think when you are an evolved human being, you definitely start to see things differently. So I
Hmm.
see relationships in a very different light now because you only know what you know until you know something new, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
and you don't know that until you have to go through a few things.
Yep. Exactly. You nailed it. And yeah, I'm really lucky to be in this relationship because we learn so much from one another. And I genuinely do feel like we are stronger together and add so much benefit, not just personally, but also for our professional lives too.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, if you can be yourself. So, around, we were talking about the coming out story, and there's just a lot of forgiveness to happen throughout
Mm.
all of our lives. What does forgiveness look like through your eyes right now? How do you have to forgive anybody currently, or do you feel like, because I feel like with you talking to all of these corporations, there are so many that still don't have DEI, that still don't even have Pride ERGs. Like, I am blown away by some of these conversations that I have with beautiful guests like you who are working within corporate structures that
Hmm.
still, depending upon the state, depending upon like
Yep.
if it's in Texas and it's oil, they're not really into like having a Pride ERG and they have to like off campus this kind of stuff. So
Especially now.
Yeah. So, like, where do you sit with how do you forgive people or forgive a whole corporation for not seeing a whole community?
I don't know that I do.
Yeah, that's
Which,
okay.
I mean, and maybe forgiveness is not the word
Right.
uh, for me. I think I just want, it's not that I hate them. It's not that I'm like, I'll never forgive them. I think I'm just disappointed. And I think you're also talking to me during maybe a sensitive time too. So maybe if you ask me this like next year, it might be different. But you're
Yeah.
talking to, one of 300,000 plus Black women who jobs have either been altered or they've been let go or whatever because of all of this anti DEI initiative.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to forgive a society that is okay with that.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm seeing it. Like, I'm blessed because there are a shout out to all the companies, the schools that still believe that we all belong. Shout out to all of them because I still am blessed to go out and speak to those companies, and it has been very, very visible. Uh, my calendar, you can visibly see the difference in February, let's say Black History Month last year, and even Pride Month last year versus this year. So I don't know that forgiveness is necessarily the word. I think, if anything, and hopefully this doesn't come off sounding too selfish, I think I've had to give myself grace and forgiveness because I think I allowed this to make me forget who I am.
Mm, yeah.
And sometimes when these things happen, you take it really personally. Like, what's wrong with me? Why is
Yeah.
everybody else getting this? And I know sometimes people will look at me versus this person. Side by side, we talk about the same thing, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with this white man talking to me about it than I am this Black lesbian, right? And so you
Mhm.
get all in your head. These people make you question who you are. Are you doing the right thing? Does anybody even care? All of that. So I hope I don't sound selfish in saying that, but I
You
think if
don't.
anything,
So to me,
I got to forgive myself and give grace to myself and remind myself, hey, you are who you say you are. And all of that negative talk I did to myself, like, I have to forgive myself for that, or forgive myself for ever thinking I was doing anything wrong.
yeah.
Um,
Because
and that's
all I see in you is someone who is being authentically themselves. I feel bad for the companies who don't say we want Ebony to come in and talk to us, because their people are missing out on having that experience. The experience not only to hear someone's different perspective, which, God, like, I am so blessed and grateful for the fact that I am surrounded by curiosity, people who
mm,
lean in with curiosity. You being one of them, you are a curious human being, which is probably why I was like so drawn, to your being. And for me, it's like that's what I feel bad for, is like when people or companies aren't allowing for these really special moments for people to actually connect on a human level, where all we're talking about is diversity, inclusion, and what's wrong with that's like, you belong to a church, great, why? Oh, because I want to be included in their community and be a part. Oh, so what's different about what we are asking over here? That's just the bullshit, fucking
right.
answer sometimes. Like, really? You
Yeah.
really, like,
Yeah.
that is not very Christ-like how you're reacting right now. So I'm just letting you know this, I'm
It's
calling you out on it.
true. It's
But
so,
I don't
and
think
it's
you
so
have
true.
anything to ever apologize for. Like, you being your beautiful Black queer self, walking into a room and owning that shit is fucking magic, in my opinion. So, I
And I
mean,
love it. And I love the spaces that it creates for everyone. I can't
yes.
tell you, the connections made, the sharing that's made, I will go and speak to, especially with the young folks, the college kids, or students. I try not to say kids.
I know.
That's a phrase I'm also trying to get out with these 18+ year olds. But
Yes.
even with them, and to hear staff and faculty be like, people we've never heard from got up and spoke and said things, and I'm like, I feel like that's the space I love to create, that I want everyone to feel like they can talk. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't. And I tell them that right from jump. Like,
Yeah.
I love each and every one of you. I
That's
see
right.
each and every one of you. I don't care who you are, how you look. All of you deserve to be seen, heard, and recognized. I don't care if you're a white boy from, Ohio, you know what I mean, to the young, I remember, he's from India, Indian student. He was the last student to talk to me in this line, because a lot of times I'll wait and talk to everybody. And he just started tearing up, and he's like, "You feel like home." And it just, ooh, that's the space that, like, I love to create. And so I think it breaks my heart that people are against that.
Well, I think when you're talking about corporations, even universities to a specific place, I mean, to a
Yeah, a lot of them
are
too.
it's return on investment. It's all about the dollar line, it's all
Yep,
about the money. And I'm all about return on relationship, and so
that's
are
it.
you. It's
Yep.
ROR
That's
all
how
day
you
long.
keep people, though.
That's
That's how
right.
your people stay. And I tell this to companies all the time. If I don't feel seen, heard, or belong, I'm getting the hell up out of this company.
That
But if you continue to say, we see you, let's have this event, or let's talk about this, or these panel discussions, they're going to stick around. I can't tell you how many companies I've come in and people are already 1 foot out the door because they know they're being performative.
that's right. That's right. I
It's
mean,
it's a lot.
everybody deserves to be seen, even if it's a sweet, straight white lady from, like
I
wherever,
say this all
Virginia.
the time.
She
I say it
deserves to be
all the
seen
time.
just as much as anybody
Absolutely.
else.
We all do. We all
Exactly.
do. And that's where I feel like, here's my thing. If nobody gets anything from this is the part, like, I hope we all just lead with love.
That's
That's
it.
it. Just lead with love. I don't care who you are. I hug everybody. I tell everybody that I see them, that I love them. I don't care what color you are, how you identify, your gender, whatever. I don't care. I just look at you as a human being, and I'm like, what if we just looked at each other like that? Like,
Hmm.
the connections, the change, the love, the return on investment we could create.
That's right. ROR, return on relationships.
Return on relationships, even better.
Yeah.
Return on relationships, even better.
Well, because like I've been really touting this whole thing around within amplifying queer voices, in the podcast, and how I pivoted this to really, really showcase what good people are doing out in our community. And I call it rainbow ripples. Like it doesn't matter because rainbow is a spectrum of colors, and it could be anything. And so I really, really love it. So what's something, or where do you find hope when the world feels divided?
Ooh, where do I find hope? I think I find hope in the little interaction, and I don't even want to call them little interactions that I have. My partner will always, especially she said it to me when we first met. She was like, I don't know how you continue to find how you're so joyful all the time, especially as like a queer Black woman living in America. She's like, I don't know how you do it. And not that she's doesn't want me to be this way. She just, I think, is in awe of it. But it's something that I think I've gotten it from my mother, is I genuinely lead with love, and I lead with joy, because I feel like if you do that, it will find you. I was in this small town in California, Arcata, speaking, and I remember I was like really down because I was thinking about all the business and non-business I was getting, and all the anti-DEI stuff. And I said, I can't go into this space like that. I have to be grateful, remember what I have. Remember I woke up today. Remember I'm loved. I have a loving partner, cats, family, mom, whatever, all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember those 3 days, I just led with joy. I met so many cool people. I walked into the coffee shop, knew me after like day 2 or 3. Like, hey, I just feel like joy. I always lead with joy, no matter what. I always talk about how, especially with Black people, our Black ancestors, slaves, the people that came before me, they try to take a lot away from us. But the one thing they never could take and still can't take is our joy. We had joy in those churches on Sunday when that was the only time we had off, right? We found joy in those few hours of song, of dance, whatever that might look like. And I feel like I take that with me.
I mean, there's a beautiful phrase that, Black people say we're going to take it to church because
Yep.
that means
That's
we're going to go and
it.
sit and enjoy. But it also stems from gratitude, Eboné.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in those moments and you need to get back into your body, you're speaking of joy, but you're also speaking deeply rooted in that present tense of gratitude, that it's hard to be pissed off when you're like, I'm so grateful for this cup of coffee. I'm so grateful for the roof over my head. I'm so grateful that my partner, wants to say hi to me today, or talk to me or show me love and affection. So it's really sitting in that space of gratitude.
Gratitude is everything. It really, really is. And don't forget to really sit in those moments of interactions that you have with people, of just, even if it's a joke or it gives you hope, or to have that, young white straight kid who came up to me to say, I never thought that I could do this, or and because of you, I feel like I have to be better. I have to be a better ally. I have to be this. I take those moments with me, and knowing that there are people out there that are going to be giving love back into the world. I have to remember those people, because it's so easy to watch the news, watch Instagram, TikTok, and see so much hate and division. But there is also a lot of love out there, and we cannot forget all that love and humanity that we see. So gratitude is absolutely one of them, and not forgetting that there are people just like you and me out there that are doing the work, that genuinely want to see the world be a better place.
That's the only reason I exist, honestly, at this point in my life. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit. You ready for a little rapid fire? Because I love where that landed, and we kind of can't do better than that, I think.
Perfect.
But I think we can have some fun. So no overthinking, Eboné.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
I know. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What do you put in it?
Just usually a latte, milk and honey. Milk and honey.
Ooh, that sounds good, actually. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Nice. Book or podcast?
Book.
And you said recently what you were reading that you really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was the War on Puerto Ricans, but I'm actually now, and this wasn't even on purpose, it was just at my desk. I'm reading this. It's about patriarchy and all of that. So I'm reading that now. It's called All We Want Is Everything. I realize everybody might not be seeing this. They might be listening.
It's good. We can put it in there. Text message or phone call?
Text message.
Millennial. Karaoke song of choice?
Whoop, there it is. Tag team.
Really like We Are Family. Whiskey Sledge brings it home for me. Favorite comfort food?
Ooh, really any soul food. So I would say mac and cheese, potato salad, collard greens, just a plate of soul food.
Can you cook?
No. So it's usually somebody else making it for me.
That's okay. And then what does living out loud mean to you?
It means choosing to live your authentic self every day, not conforming to any box, just living your life exactly who you are, period.
Well, I think we're going to have another episode for sure, because I could literally talk to you for 5
Me
hours.
too. Do you know, I was thinking the same thing. I felt so bad. I was like, I think this probably went really over, but I loved this conversation with you. I loved
Me
it.
too. It's so energizing, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Well, Eboné, thank you for everything you're doing in the world, spreading rainbow ripples wherever you walk. And please tell your partner we say hello, and we're
Thank you.
grateful that you have each other. And anyways, I just appreciate you joining us today. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you do and elevating our voices. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you liked this episode, please hit the follow button, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next week, stay proud, stay loud.